ஆரெம்பெருமானார் ஜீயர் திருவடிகளே சரணம். தமிழும் வைணவமும் தழைத்து இனிது ஓங்குக. Sri Ramanujacharya's Trifecta contribution. It's a nutrition for us. We are in the midst of celebration of the annual birth celebration of a great philosopher of the 12th century, Sri Ramanujacharya. Trifecta. So Ramanujacharya's contribution is immense, and that can be categorized into three aspects. Well, of course, if you are in the Sanatana Dharma and you are a follower of Sri Vaishnava principles, obviously one would give the great credit to his work on the sastra. Then second, his contribution in the religious aspects. And third, his contributions to the society. But we are going to enjoy how he contributed for the societal well-being as a social reformer. Number two, how he propagated religion as a basis for creating unity. And of course, thirdly, his interpretation of sastra and his philosophical contributions. Trifecta. So in Tamil, the eulogy song on Sri Ramanuja brings this. First, Tennarangan Selvam Mutrum Tiritti Vaittan Vaழியே மரகதனில் பொருள் அனைத்தும் வாய்மொழிந்தான் வாழியே மாறன் உரை செய்த தமிழ் மறை வளர்த்தோன் வாழியே. Dasan has been requested by many across the globe that this lecture has to be in English for the benefit of world NRI community and so on and so forth. Hence, I am taking liberty to give this brief lecture in English with interlude in Sanskrit text and Tamil text. So first and foremost, when you are thinking about the eulogy of Sri Ramanuja, a great philosopher of the 12th century, whose 1009th annual birth anniversary is being celebrated next week, Chittirai, in the month of Chittirai, on the star of Arudra. The star's devata is Rudran. Rudam dravayati iti Rudraha. So he was born on the star of Arudra, whose presiding deity is Rudra, the one who is a reliever of all pains. Although Rudhyam you say Shiva, Rudra, Shankar, but if you just take the etymological meaning of Rudra, the one, the supreme, who clears us of all our distress. So this philosopher, the great man Sri Ramanujacharya, came into this world some 1000 years back, and he did three things. First and foremost, he has to establish the two interpretation of Veda that everybody talks. Second, how he brought the folks together and uplifted the religion by a marga called bhakti. He preached bhakti marga, and then those people who came into this marga, he was so magnanimous, out of his costless mercy, like the Supreme Lord Sriman Narayana. What he did was, he made sure those who are following the bhakti marga use a simple methodology of sharanagati, or taking refuge, realizing one's helplessness. So preaching bhakti marga and then defining a path in that bhakti marga or bhakti religion. The religion is bhakti, whereas philosophy and religion are different. So philosophically his work was to interpret the meaning of Shastras, the understanding of the Supreme, the understanding of the Atma, the understanding of relationship between Atman and Supreme, and he used his method and then came up with what is a qualified non-dualism, Visishta Advaitam, whereas this word was coined later time, not during his time. So Sariri Sharira Bhava Tattvam. But he emphasized everything is real. Even swapna, the dream is real. Anyway, let's not debate so much. So, philosophically, it goes without saying, as a sastric leader, as a Sanatani, as a leader of the Sanatana Dharma or a faith, he has to first and foremost provide an interpretation, true interpretation of the Vedanta. Here, the Brahma Sutra of Bhadarayana. Then that is done. Then the greatness of him lies in twofold. How he brought the people together, unison, by preaching the path of bhakti, bhakti marga. Then if you need to propagate bhakti marga, you need to believe in a supreme, and then people should understand that supreme is real. You are able to conceptualize, or you are able to see that supreme. So if you have to see a person in matrimony, in the day-to-day life, if you have to fix some matrimony, what you look, the parents or the boy and the girl looks for first looks and then the character, of course, then all the wealth and all this financial standing. Okay, let's take the looks and the character. So Ramanuja brought the people to realize the swarupa and guna of the supreme. To him, the supreme, for us as Sri Vaishnava, the supreme is Sriyapati, the Lord, the consort of whose consort is Sri Mahalakshmi, Sriyapati. So he brought us. You need to get attracted to believe. That is in Kali Yuga, because we are getting wavered in all directions. So one has to get their mind and their activity streamlined. So he emphasized the importance of temple worship. If you are worshipping temple, that means you need to have a deity, and then that deity has to attract you. Vashi, that Itihasas and Puranas help him. So Ramanujacharya was able to establish this qualified non-dualism with the help of not only Vedantic scriptures, but also Puranas and Itihasas and the vernacular text of Alvars. If you talk about Puranas and Itihasas and vernacular Bhakti text, they are nothing but preaching Bhakti. When you have to preach Bhakti, you have to eulogize a hero. Whom do you call a hero? The hero who has supreme characters, physical attributes, as well as characteristics. So, the importance of temple worship. So, temple worship in a societal way is not only just go there and pray, it is also a place where people could mingle. It's a fellowship. So, bhakti, through bhakti, he brought us into a fold or a pact to believe in a supreme who has all the kalyana gunas, all the supreme characters, and one who is devoid of all the negative characters. Pratyanika. So all devoid of all the negative characters. In that way, he was able to reconcile the Vedantic text saying Brahman is Nirgunam. So Swami Ramanuja emphasized here Nirgunam means devoid of all the unwanted characters. Okay, so he brought people into bhakti. When bringing people to bhakti, he emphasized that we have to worship the divine in the temple, looking at his rupa, guna, and guna is multifold. And one of the preceptors of Swami Ramanuja gives the guna as 12-fold. Vashi vadanyaha gunavan rujuhu suchihi mruduhu dayaluhu samasta kalyana gunamrutodhadihi. How these Vaishnava preceptors were able to imbibe this, the Kalyana Guna and the Kalyana Swarupa, is because of their faith in Ramayana. So how does Ramayana begin? Ramayana begins by eulogizing the characters. Kon asmin sampratam loke gunavan. So guna. And not only guna. Ramayana did not stop only with guna. That is abstract in a way. it also eulogized the attractiveness of the hero, here Lord Ram. Again and again, Valmiki emphasizes if you have guna, that guna manifests in a good facial expressions, manifests in guna in good activities in the society. So both are important. Guna which gets manifested into the activities, gunas that get manifested into your swarupa. So this Valmiki emphasizes when Dasaratha calls Rama to announce that you are going to be crowned as a Yuvaraja tomorrow, why would here Valmiki go out of the way, labor to talk about how Rama looked? Because that's what attracted people first. Oh, this supreme, look at him. If he is able to be like this, how would it be character? How would his activities be? Gandharva Raja Pratimam Loke Vikyata Paurusham Dirgha Bahum Mahasatvam Matta Madanga Gaminam Chandrakantananam Ramam Ativa Priyadarshanam. Look, father praising Rama's look. Hey Ram, you come. Va Pogu Vandoru Kal Kulashekara brings the same aspect in his Tamil poetry. Valmiki says Dasaratha called him once. He looked at the frontal attributes. Then he was sent back to his place, abode, Antapura. Then he calls him again because he was not satisfied seeing the looks and the attributes. Once people get attracted to the looks, then people imbibe in their guna, in their character. Chandra Kantananam Ramam Ativa Priyadarshanam. Extraordinarily good looking. Ativa Priyadarshanam Rupa. Then comes, you see, this Rupa manifests in character. I didn't say, Das didn't say. Valmiki says, Rupa Audharya Gunaihi. Benevolent gunas. Rupa Audharya Gunaihi. Guna, benevolence, multitude of gunas, all the good characters. Pumsam Drishti Chitta Apaharinam. Then he brings a simile. How is this? Why? His characters, his attributes, his look, everything is pleasant. As if a man is struggling in a desert and he sees a oasis. Likewise, for the people who are struggling in this Bhavasagara, in this world of confusion, you imbibe in Rama's characters, Rama's gunas. How do you imbibe in Rama's character? Only if you see Rama in Paruthiyur, only if you see Rama in Vaduvur, only if you see Rama in Adamar, only if you see Rama in Mudigondan, only if you see Rama in Thillai Velagam. All these are Pancha Ramachetram, beautiful, splendid Vigraha of Rama, Mudigondan, Paruthiyur, Adamar, Thillai Velagam, Vaduvur, Pancha Ramachetram. Garbadi taptaha, garma taptaha. As if one is struggling in a summer or in a desert. Garma taptaha parjayan. As if they have seen drops of water. This Rama's characters gives you that kind of freshness. Garma taptaha parjanyam hladayantim iva praja. This character of Rama, Guna, Saundarya, gives you this kind of happiness. That is why Ramanujacharya understood this. Although sastras are important, all these are there. உயிர்கள் மெய்விட்டு ஆதிப்பரனோடு ஒன்றாம் என்று சொல்லும் அவ்வல்லலெல்லாம் வாதில் வென்றான். So we are refuting Advaitam here. We are refuting Mithya here. உயிர்கள் மெய்விட்டு ஆதிப்பரனோடு ஒன்று என்று ஒன்றாம் என்று சொல்லும் அவ்வல்லலெல்லாம் வாதில் வென்றான். Fine. But then that is not going to attract common man like me, das, ignorant, ignoramus like me. I have to be imbibed. My activities, my karanas, my indriyas have to be brought into some kind of a channel. And that is bhakti, religion. So he propagated bhakti without deviating from the sastric text. Ekam sati vipra bahuda vadanti. What helped him? Alvar's vernacular texts and itihasas and puranas helped him. particularly Ramayana, which is a Sharanagati. So bhakti, sastra, one factor. Second is bhakti. What helped him is basically the bhakti poetry of Alvars. Because bhakti poetry brings the rasa. I don't worry, but even in Tiruvaimozhi, the entire text is madhu, madhu, madhu. But people won't pay much attention to the first 10 poems of Tiruvaimozhi because it is totally sastric based. Whereas when people talk about the Aravamude Adiyen Udalam Ninpal Anbaye, the beauty, see, that is what attracts people. So Ramanuja understood this and he brought this into the way of Sri Vaishnava life, Bhakti Marg. Then people have to be totally dedicated into this. And then also he was magnanimous, although he didn't precisely say that in his text, but he showed a path and his preceptors stuck to it, that even in the Bhakti Marga, in this Kali Yuga, people can get distracted. So, but first and foremost, find a good preceptor and then through him surrender to the Lord. When you surrender to the Lord, you will eventually give up two things: the ego and the possessiveness, ahankara, mamakara. Eventually it has to go. But this is based on faith, mahavishwasam. Okay, certain things you have to have it. So, mahaviswas. When you have mahaviswas, through a preceptor, you take refuge in the Supreme. Eventually, you try to elevate yourself. Ahankara, mamakara, you give up. When you give up those, you see, Vasudha eva kutumpakam ayam ganana ayam neti iti laguchetasam udara charitanam tu. Vasudha eva kutumpakam. You see everybody as you. You see your neighbor as your family member. This is utopia in a way, but this is the Viswas. You can't build Sri Rangam in one day. Okay. So you are building at least better than yesterday. Then when you give up this, you become a servant. And Ramanuja Sampradaya insisted not only you should be the servant to the Lord, Shriyapati, you should be the servant to the people and the society. How did Ramanuja get this? He got this by imbibing the true meaning and the essence given in the vernacular poetry of Alvars, particularly Namazhvar. When Namazhvar was finishing his magnum opus, Tiruvaimozhi, in the last 100 poems, he gives the beautiful things. Why Bhakti Marga? Why you have to go to the temple or Marjanam? How did Ambarisha do? Ambarisha was a great king. There is a saying, people like Alangudi, Periva, great scholars. I'm talking about these people who lived 100 years back. Alangudi Periva, a great pravachana of Bhagavata. The Ramayana is here today in South India, at least because of great stalwarts, Paramapujaniya like Parithiyur Krishna Sastrigal. I'm talking about people who lived 150 years back. Then came Sengalibram Anantarama Dikshadhar and all that. Prior to them, Ramayana means it is Parithiyur Krishna Sastrigal. Bhagavatam means it is Alangudi Periva and Mayuram Sastrigal. Anyway, so people used to say that why the king like Ambarisha, these people, these Mahans, particularly Alangudi Periva, I used to hear my grandfather say, who was one of the founding members of Ayodhya Aswamedha Mandama Ram Samaj, which hosts a lot of these people, Pravachanakartas, Sengalipuram Anandarada Dikshadhar, Krishna Premi Swamigal and all those people. So I used to get tidbits here and there from my grandfather, who was a leading lawyer, T.V. Srinivasacharya. So he used to tell me that this Perivas used to tell, look at Ambarisha. That is bhakti. Ambarisha means it is bhakti. He was such a great king. Every day he used to come to temple and clean the floor of the temple, Marjanam. He was like a servant. By cleaning this, I am able to get the dirts of the feet of the great Bhagavata. That is Naichya Anusantanam. Giving up your ego, pride and possessiveness. it used to be said that these pravachanakartas used to say, this task would have been easy for Ambarisha. He could have just given half a bag of rice and somebody would do it for him. So he is one of the stupidest person. Ambarisha was a stupidest person. Cleaning the temple, ஆறு கலம் நெல்ல கொடுத்தா ஆறு கலம் நெல்ல கொடுத்து ஒரு அர்ச்சக பட்டனை வாங்கி, the same phrase in Tamil, beautiful, that's God's mercy, thus the people could tell. ஆறு கலம் நெல்ல கொடுத்தா ஒரு அர்ச்சக பட்டனை விலைக்கு வச்சா அவன் கோவில சுத்தம் பண்ணிட்டு போவான். அம்பரீஷன் பண்ணணுமா? அசத்து அம்பரீஷன். So this great pravachanakartas used to bring people in the fold. Look, this man was such a rich person. He's an emperor. He could have just paid some handful to somebody and employed him as a bhatta, as a கைங்கரியப்பரா. ஆறு கலம் நெல்ல கொடுத்தா வருஷத்துக்கு ஒரு அர்ச்சக பட்டனை வச்சா அவன் கோவில சுத்தம் படுத்திட்டு போறான். இப்படி ஒரு அசட் அம்பரீஷன மாதிரி இருக்குமா? He was not stupid. He reached the abode. That is the difference. But to tell how these people took even this small job as a great service, tondu, that is what I'm saying. Bhakti brings you into the fold of doing service, which Maharashtra sants again and again in the Abhang, in the Ovis. They said this, Jani Janardana Bhavaha. If you do this, you will understand that God resides in people. Service to the society. Now we are coming to the third act. This is how Sastra, true interpretation of Sastra, bring people together via Bhakti Marga, give up your ego, take refuge in the Supreme. For Sri Vaishnavas, it is Sri Prapathi. And then this will automatically manifest in social service. That is what he said. He did. He said what he said he did. In those days, imagine 1,000 years back, he brought people together in the service of the Lord, in the service of the community, in the service of society by structuring the worship in temple. In those days, the society revolved around temple. That is where people came for recreation. That is where disputes used to be sorted out. So he brought people together. Tennarangam selvam mutrum tiritti vaittan vaழியே. I'm glad that Sri Vaishnava preceptors put this first. Then only Sastra, his contribution to Sastra came. All are important. But what is important for a Sri Vaishnava? Paradhukke. Nrsimha Mehta says, Vaishnava Janato. Who is a Vaishnava? He understands the suffering of the others. Gujarati sons, Maharashtra sons, even Sri Vaishnava sons. Nanjiyar used to say, a great preceptor living in Srirangam used to say, who is a Sri Vaishnava? Sri Vaishnavan Yenbavan Yavan. Who is a Sri Vaishnava? The one who gets touched by other feelings suffering. Amma, yo, this person is suffering, alas. Amma Yenbavan, Pirar Novu Kandu, Amma Yenbavan Vaishnavan. Pirar Novu Kandu, Am, Paratum. Let him suffer. That is his karma. If somebody thinks he is a Avaishnavan, Pirar Novu Kandu, Amma Yenbavan Vainavan. Nanjiyar. Pirar Novu Kandu, Am, let him suffer. Endru Ninaipavan Avainavan. This comes only if you go through the path of bhakti, give up your ego, give up your pride and mix. That is the reason he structured the protocols used in temple, where people belonging to sects could participate. We are talking 1,000 years back. Change comes step by step. Right? So he did what he could do in those times, 1,000 years back at best. Tennarangam selvamuttum tiritti vaittan vaழியே. All the people who are in the society doing different activities were given part to take part in the activities of the temple, thereby in the activities of society. That is what in Sri Vaishnavam we call Pattu Kottu, Path delegates. He created 10 delegations of people who would do activities in unison. Tennarangan selvamuttum tiritti vaittan vaழியே. Societal reformer. மறையதனில் பொருள் அனைத்தும் வாய் மொழிந்தான் வாழியே. Philosophical contribution. Atma, Chit, Achit, Ishvara. Philosophically he did because that is what he is. மறையதனில் பொருள் அனைத்தும் வாய் மொழிந்தான் வாழியே. That is for select people, even today. Then we want to understand how the Lord is. I want to be part of the worship. That is what the greatest thing Sri Vaishnavam does, is using vernacular text on par with the sastric, Vedanta Sastra, Ubhaya Vedanta. Maran, he brought the poems of Alvars. Maran is Upalakshana, every Alvars and Bhakti text. தென்னரங்கன் செல்வமுத்தும் திருத்தி வைத்தான் வாழியே, மறையதனில் பொருள் அனைத்தும் வாய்மொழிந்தான் வாழியே, மாறன் உரை செய்த தமிழ் வரை வளர்த்தோன் வாழியே. He made sure people are able to enjoy the supreme in their own mother tongue. I'm talking about Dravida Desha. That is the reason even in Pushkar, today people recite Tirupavai. Even in Kolhapur, people recite Tirupavai, because this is part and parcel of Sri Vaishnavism. Give credit to vernacular bhakti texts, which Sri Vaishnava was a pioneer. Sri Vaishnavam was a pioneer. So propagated bhakti as a means of, as a religious form, and then total surrender to the Sriyapati through a preceptor. So you don't get confused. And then contribute to the functioning of a temple, in other words, contributing to the function of a society. Social reform, religious understanding and reform, and scholarly and philosophical pursuits. So how did he get this? Undu kalittorku umbar en kurai. Undu kalitterku umbar en turai. மென்குறை மேலை தொண்டு உகளித்து. Somewhere, when Alvar in Tiruvaimozhi, somewhere Alvar puts this. If you start doing tondu, you understand your true self. உண்டு களித்தேற்கு உம்பர் என் குறை மேலை தொண்டு உகளித்து. If you start doing service, he only puts tondu. In this word, he doesn't say tondu to Paraman. Alvar is very intelligent person. He gives loose. He leaves tondu as loose. Tondu to Emberuman, tondu to people, tondu to animals, tondu to the society. Undu kalitterku, if I am enjoying the aspects of tondu, service, by way of bhakti, by way of contribution to the society, I don't even care about the Ananda in Vaikuntham. ஆனாத செல்வத்து அறம்பயர் தற்சூழும் வானாளும் செல்வமும் மன்னரசும் யான் வேண்டேன். I don't care. குலசேகரன். உண்டு களித்தேற்கு உம்பர். If I am enjoying myself in the good unison of people, bhaktas who have same thought of contributing to the bhakti, contributing, being service to the Lord, and contributing to society, why I care? ஆனாத செல்வத்து அறம்பயர் தற்சூழ வானாளும் செல்வமும் மன்னரசும் யான் வேண்டேன். உண்டு களித்தேற்கு உம்பர். I don't care. What Alvar said, Kulasekharan, the one who followed Namazhvar, brings this. நாலாம் திருமொழி, பெருமாள் திருமொழியில நாலாம் திருமொழி. ஊனேறு செல்வத்து உண்டு களித்தேற்கு உம்பர் என் குறை மேலை தொண்டு உகளித்து. If I am immersed in the தொண்டு உகளித்து, I get the joy. அந்தி தொழும் சொல்லு பெற்றேன். What is the final mantra? Ashtakshara. Namaha Sabdam. What is it? I am not belonging to myself. I am at the mercy of the Lord. What he says, do service. Anditolum sollu petreen. If I am understanding the meaning of true servitude. I understand the meaning of Sastra. What is the meaning of Sastra? Ashtaksharam. And what is the crux of Ashtaksharam? Nama. I don't belong to myself. I am to the service of him. If I am being service to him, that means I have to do service to the society. Anditolum sollu petreen. Antima. What is the Antima understanding in Sastra? That you are belonging to him. Seshatva kaingaryam. Anditolum sollu petreen. Vandu kalikum poril su. Then he says, okay, then how do I know that I will reach him? You are seeing in Tirupper, Appakudathan. You are seeing in Tirumuzhikulam. You are seeing in Alvar Tirunagari. Vandu kalikum poril su Tirupperan. Kandu Kalipa, Yen Kannul Ninnu Agalane. The same thing Kulasekaran says. So, how could Sri Ramanujacharya bring all these? It is because of not only his immense knowledge and understanding of sastra, his understanding and interpretation of the essence of Ramayana, which is a Saranagati Sastra. He listened Ramayana in this way 18 times, which took 360 days for him from his uncle. And then, when you get this understanding, true meaning of Sastra, Namasabda, then you understand what you should do. What is the manifestation of that understanding is service, tondu. That tondu will manifest in true selves of yours. When you are able to understand the true self of yourself and the Brahman, what at the end it lasts is your service. What are you going to do? Service. Service. You should take care of yourself first. Okay. Take care of yourself both physically and mentally and physically, psychologically, everything. Then society to your service to your neighbors, service to your greater village, and then the world. So, social reformer. That is what? Tennarangam Selvamuttum Tiritti Vaittan Vadiye. மறையதனில் பொருள் அனைத்தும் வாய் மொழிந்தான் வாழியே மாறன் உரை செய்த தமிழ் மறை வளர்த்தோன் வாழியே. Then where did he come? அரமிகு நற்பெரும் பூதூர் அவதரித்தான் வாழியே. Sri Madhavangri Jaladadvaya Nityasema Prema Vilashaya Parangusha Pada Bhaktam. He was a servant to the feet of Namazhvar. So Kuresa, why should I leave the hometown of Shreyas? Kuram's Lord Kuresa says, Yo Nityam Achyuta Padam Bhuja Yugma Rukma Vyamo Bhakti. Vyamohata, Vyamoha, the bhakti to the Lord. Surrender. Yo Nityam Achyuta Padam Bhuja Yugma Rukma. Gold, the glittering beauty. Again, Rupa. Why would Kuresa bring the word Rukma? Rukma mana gold. That kind of a Jojjalyam. Yo Nityam Achyuta Padam Bhuja Yugma Rukma Vyamohata Stat Idarani. All that Swami Ramanuja carried is Emberuman's bhakti. The bhakti towards the Lord. If you have bhakti towards the Lord, eventually you will understand your true self. Atmaswarupam kim? Seshatva kaingaryameva atmaswarupam. Undu kalitterku umbaren kurai melai tondu ugalithu. அந்தித் தொழும் சொல்ல பெற்றேன் வண்டு களிக்கும் பொழில் சூழ் திருப்பேரான் கண்டு களிப்பா என் கண்ணுள் நின்னு அகலானே. ஸ்ரீ மாதவாங்கிரி ஜலஜத்வய நித்ய சேவா பிரேமா விலாசய பராங்குஷ பாதபக்தம் காமாதி தோஷஹரம் ஆத்மபதாஸ்ரிதானாம் ராமானுஜம் யதிபதிம். தட் இஸ் யதிபதி. பிரணமாமி மூர்தனா. ஸ்ரீமதே ராமானுஜாய நமः. தமிழும் வைணவமும் தழைத்து இனிது ஓங்குக.